You know, I'm an old guy. I just turned 66 and I worry about safety. Let me show you what I carry, and I know I go overboard on my kayak to make sure that I stay safe right now. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, we cover kayak modifications, spin, and fly fishing. So poke that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. I've done a lot of safety videos on recovery lately. Now let's go through what I actually carry on my kayak, and you'll be interested to what I attach right behind the seat to have it immediately available to me. So let's look. This is some of the stuff I carry in and on me, and I'll show you some of the other things that I have permanently mounted to my kayak in a minute. But the first thing I want to say is the most important piece of safety equipment you can take with you is your cell phone, if there's connectivity, if you can get a cell phone signal wherever it is you're fishing. I use an iPhone 7, which is water resistant, so I'm not as worried about it getting wet as I would be if I had a phone that was unprotected. Now let's go through some of the other things that I carry in and around me. The first thing is I carry an extra propeller kit for my Jackson Coosa FD. I can change this on the side of the stream, on a sandbar, whatever, if I happen to break off one of the propellers in my unit. First aid kit, and given that I fish around oysters a lot, I don't want to get a little cut and not be able to swab it with alcohol and then protect it. So that's what I've got in there. The next thing is a rescue streamer. You know, I'm an old guy and I worry about getting a heart attack or whatever and calling in the cavalry and having people be able to find me. Well, this rescue streamer, and I don't want to undo it all the way because I'll never get it back in the box here, lays out a very long, bright orange panel on the surface of the water that would make it easy for rescue to find me. So how is that rescue can even know that I'm in trouble? Well, I carry an ACR back emergency beacon, and I'm amazed that anyone who goes out, especially on the ocean, doesn't have one of these with him. Now, the ACR brand is kind of a big one-time expense, but then there's no annual update to it. You do have to update your annual registration every 2 years, but that's free. And basically, it's with this nice big antenna, it's probably a much more reliable way to call in help than the other beacon I carry, which is my Spot Messenger. I keep my Spot Messenger beacon right here in my pocket. That way if I get separated from my kayak, I've still got the beacon and I can still hit the 911 button so they can find me, and the heck with my kayak. Now I've had this I think since 2007, still works fine, and the great thing about this is it's 100% backup to that, but through the subscription program I can have it upload my position every couple minutes to the internet, and people can keep track of me via a special website that Spot has that allow you to see where people are who are using this. I can also send a help where I don't need a 911 type emergency, and of course there's a 911 button, and there's also an OK button, so if I'm out late and maybe I don't have cell phone connectivity, because this is satellite based, I can hit the OK button and the people I have on the notification list know that I'm okay. Now, something you may not think about as an emergency equipment is I always carry an extra bottle of water. You know, you just never know when you're going to run out, get real thirsty, and you need something to drink. Wet weather gear is a given. I like the Frog Talk stuff because it's inexpensive and it's pretty good. I also carry a VHF radio, so you might think, holy mackerel, this guy's really going overkill. He's got one beacon, he's got a second beacon, and he's got a VHF radio that will send his GPS location when I hit the emergency button. Yeah, I worry about stuff. You know, if you get in trouble, you just don't want to have to rely on only one means of communication. Now, VHF is probably only good here on the coastal region. I wouldn't carry this inshore in a river or a lake or someplace where there's no Coast Guard or rescue team to listen to this. Then moving to the PFD, obviously you have a PFD, and you have the appropriate whistle to go with it. If I feel like there's a lot of boat traffic on the intercoastal, then I'll wear one of these vests to make myself more visible. Now let's move on to some of the other things that I've got on the kayak. You may have seen my other video where I talk about the tattle hack in terms of putting one of these in your rod holders to make it visible. Mine were a green color, and you can see here that I'm in the process of painting them a fluorescent orange so they'll be more visible.
Lightning is always something we need to worry about, especially here in the south, and I tested a lightning detector against lightningmaps.org and found that it would work just fine. I carry it with me.
In another video that I'll link up down below, I talked about how to make a kayak ladder / stirrup and also make this double as your stand-up assist rope. That is a critical piece of gear to help you get back in your kayak if you happen to flip it. Now once you do flip it, you still got to deal with the water inside it. And I want my pump to be very accessible to me so I don't have to go digging in a hatch someplace to get it. And so I use Velcro strapping to attach the pump to the back of my seat. Then the last thing is, you know, that little whistle that you carry on your PFD per Coast Guard regulations isn't really very loud, and it's not really going to warn off a crazed boater charging down the intercoastal or someplace else. So I've got the orange paddles that I can wave, and I also have an air horn that I attach to the foot of my seat using some Velcro strapping. Yep, with that air horn right here at the side of my seat, it's easy enough for me to reach down, grab, and hit the button and let out a big honk. Yes, your anchor is a part of your safety gear. It holds you in place, but you need to be able to have a way to quickly release that anchor if it gets hung up on something that's going to cause your boat to flip, or if you're fighting a fish. So I use one of these cleats that allows me to do that. It's a zigzag cleat. And be sure that you run your anchor, if you have a trolley, through the loop here and not just tie it right to the trolley. And I've got another video on why you don't want to do that I'll link up below. The final thing is, if you're fishing with a buddy, you ought to have radio contact, because if one or the other gets in trouble that may not be life-threatening, you certainly want to know about it, and you want to know what's working if the other guy's catching fish and you're not. That's pretty much it for what I carry for safety reasons. If you guys have identified something that I need to carry that I'm not, please throw it in the comments below, because I'm all ears. I want to stay safe. I want to catch fish.